Welcome to Storytelling. This week, we welcome back a former guest who is a true visionary and creative force to be reckoned with. He has an exceptional talent and has conquered the worlds of filmmaking, photography, spoken word, acting, and the dynamic realm of the media. And he consistently seeks to shatter barriers and unlock our untapped potential for self-expression. Please welcome Dez Mighty. Hello, Dez, and welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, so what have you been up to since the last time we spoke?
I've been traveling. I went to South Africa for the first time, which was absolutely amazing. I've just come back from a week in Italy snowboarding, which I absolutely loved. And I'm trying to recover from throwing my whole body down the mountain as fast as I can.
Wow, amazing stuff. You know, I was thinking about our conversation today, and I wanted to start with this. When was the last time you had a moment of deep self-reflection, and what did it reveal to you?
Oh, that's a very heavy question. Okay, I think I went snowboarding last week, as I just said. And I think when you're on a mountain, you're sitting on a mountain and you're looking down at what you're about to do, which looks like madness sometimes because you're just looking at something that's extremely steep. And if you think about it carefully, it's a life-threatening situation. But I sat on the mountain and I thought, you've got no time. When you're going down, you haven't got any time to think about any of your problems, any of your challenges, any of the issues. You've just got to focus on getting down that mountain. Because if you try to think about anything else, if you've got any other thoughts in your mind, it's not going to be good. So my reflection was, sometimes you've got stuff that's going on in your life and you've just got to let go of it all. The reality of your life is you might be worried about something and literally it's causing you to change emotionally. You're breathing shallow, you're uncomfortable with yourself. But then if you actually take yourself out of the picture and look at where you are and say, well, what's actually happening to me right now? And you say nothing. But the thought of something is making your whole physicality change. And I think when I was coming down the mountain, I thought about that and thought, most of the time, all the things that we fear the most never actually happen in our lives.
Yeah, that's very true.
So you go through this emotional state of change, of worry, of concern. And what you need to do is just let go and just say, you know what? I'm just going to get on with what I can get on with today.
I totally agree with you because the saying is that worrying doesn't change anything.
Absolutely. It's like a situation occurs, like you fell down. And let's say it's as simple as you walk down the road and you fell down. Now, all that you did was fall down, but what you add to it is, I must be stupid because I fell down. But because you fell down doesn't make you stupid. It's that addition is what causes the problem because now you've taken yourself to another emotional state. So it's kind of like looking at this whole life and the reflection of it is really, whatever's going on in my mind is not actually happening to me physically. So therefore, why am I making this cause me to change physically, to have emotional turmoil or challenges when nothing's happening? Why not I just separate where I am right now with some of the challenges that I may have and then just look at it and say, well, nothing's happening now. So I've got time to deal with this. So coming down the mountain made me think, if I thought about all the challenges and problems that I had, I would have a very serious accident because none of those things are actually happening to me, not in that moment. What was happening to me in that moment, despite all of the things that are going on all around in my head, was that I was going down a mountain as fast as I can. And that's what I need to focus on. So focus on the good things that are happening in your life and all the rest will take care of itself.
So when we talk about self-reflection, we're not just talking about all those challenging things that may happen, but as you just mentioned, it's that reflection of all the good things as well. And that reflection can also be gratitude of what we've experienced also. How can we play into that more, and what effect can that have on us as individuals?
See, the thing is, I think one of the things that we've all got to do is we've got to be grateful every single day of our lives. The first thing is you've woken up today, and there's millions of people who have not. The thing is about life is we'll go to bed with all sorts of plans, concerns, worries, and challenges, or amazing things that we think we're going to do. And some of us never wake up.
Mm.
So it's kind of like, okay, the fact that you wake up every morning, you've got to be grateful for just the fact that you wake up every morning and that you've got all your physical attributes and everything about you, everything's fine with you if you're in that place. Obviously, there's people who may have some challenges, but we've all got to be very grateful for the fact that we're still here, that we can still breathe and that we're above ground. And that kind of makes you reflect as well. It's like, what sort of life do you want to live? Do you want to live a life just completely full of worry? When you think about all the worry that you're going through, what does it actually ever change? What does it actually ever do? Worry just causes you to have more worry. It's like worrying about money or debt just brings more debt, or more problems. So it's like, okay, so there's things that happen in your life that you can't change. You can't, the direction of it, whatever's happening, you can't do anything about it at this moment in time. But what you can do is focus on all the great things that are happening in your life. So it's kind of like a magnet. You want to attract what you think about, because that's what we actually do. If we think about great things, we're going to attract great things. If we think about really, really negative things, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to attract more negative things. Does that make sense?
Most definitely, it does. Before you get into your poem, do you think writing has helped you reflect more deeply on yourself and your emotions?
All right. So writing is very deep discipline. I love sometimes just sitting down and writing emotionally what my feelings are, what's going on for me. Sometimes you might be in a space where what I thought about the other day was sometimes you think there's all this stuff going on in your life, but if you get a piece of paper and write down what's actually going on, you might in your head, it's like, oh my God, there's so many problems and challenges. And then when you write it down on a piece of paper, there's two things that you've got to challenge and sort yourself out. Do you understand? It's like there's two things that are actually happening in your life, but because you're not facing those things, it seems like you've got massive things going on in your life. When in reality, there's not really that much going on. So writing stuff down, it's a great thing to do because you're literally putting down what's on the inside of you on an external surface. So you're seeing what's going on inside of you from what you write. Embracing self-love stands at the cornerstone of our emotional well-being. For the depth at which we love ourselves will set the tone for the love we need from others. It all begins within. Looking at our reflection in the mirror, meeting our own eyes with warmth and acceptance, and wholeheartedly telling the spirit that resides within, I really like you, and I genuinely love you. I spent some time today studying myself in a mirror, smiling back at the spirit that smiled at me as it mimicked my movements like a faithful shadow. I promised myself that today I would not find ways to put myself down and chose purposely not to be around people who tried to hurt me. My reflection made me realize that I liked my face, my lips, my skin, my nose, my eyes, and perhaps for the first time recognized that the mirror is a looking glass into my soul, reflecting the true depths of my innermost thoughts and fears. Like a chameleon capturing the essence of my ever-changing moods and emotions. Looking deeper,
I understood that no matter how many times I messed up, I always find a way to win. And that how you see yourself will determine what you will achieve, what you can do, how far you can go. I deliberated about what type of person I am and choose to ask you the very same question. Are you really happy or are you sad? Or a quiet combination of both, with some nuanced shades of pain, shame, death, and life's constant challenges thrown in for good measure? Do the things you need come to you easily, or does everything you seek require great effort and huge amounts of difficulty? Do people like you? Just think about that for a moment. And do you really care? If they do or they don't, does it even matter? What do you love to do? Is it spiritually uplifting, positive and giving? Or are you living in a nightmare? Days filled with fear, idle gossip, your way of staying in the mundane with insane thoughts and opinions about things that really have no bearing or relevance to your life at all. Can I ask you a simple question? Do you even like yourself? Or are you secretly praying for an escape to an alternate reality to evade your phobias, dreaming of being happier, slimmer, fitter, richer and popular, clearly not satisfied with your now and how you exist in this present actuality? I really need to help you to understand something. Loving yourself is all you need to make a start. Couple this with your positive self-talk, reinforcing your beliefs that in this life there is really nothing you cannot achieve. And remember these words: as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Perhaps it's time to decide to improve your lot. Recognize today is your opportunity to change, to rearrange all the stuff in your head. Like furniture, move it all around, take things down, throw stuff that no longer serves you out. Take stock of everyone and everything and ask, how do these people and these shiny trinkets you've collected throughout your life really make you feel? Life is truly waiting for you to happen. It's not the other way around. Like a blank canvas, eager to be caressed by your brush, each stroke detailing the battles hard fought, won and lost, waiting for you to shine your light to illuminate a world stooped in darkness, to be the voice of reason in this season of chaos and damaged spirits. To understand that you are here to make a huge difference and that believing in yourself is massively, massively significant. The mirror tells the story of my life, a true reflection where I cannot hide, revealing my flaws, loves and dramas, etched deep into my soul, chronicled honestly through my eyes, without compromise or deception, a silent witness faithfully telling the undeniable reality it beholds. I believe in me, for I am like a seed that is growing into a mighty tree. The question I have to ask is, do you believe in you?
people avoid self-reflection?
I think people avoid themselves, right? It's like perhaps there's things that you need to change about yourself, or there's things that you need to face, or there's things that you're really uncomfortable with. But more than likely, you're just going to try and not face some of those things. And it's really important to kind of look at yourself and try to figure out where you are in your head. I love to just sit down in silence sometimes. I don't have the TV on, I don't have anything, and I just sit and listen to my breath. And sometimes one of the hardest things to do is say, I'm going to sit down, I'm not going to think about anything, but you have all these thoughts that come into your head. A lot of people don't know how to stop those thoughts. So I feel there's constant thoughts of just this chatter that's going on in your mind. And it's like, I don't want this chatter. I just want to be silent. And I read this book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. He talked about if you want to stop that chatter, which is the ego, you need to come out of yourself as an I and look down at yourself. So I close my eyes, imagine an I looking down at myself, which is me. And then the chatter stops. Because if you watch yourself, the chatter will not continue in your mind. It's a really interesting exercise. I've done it quite a few times and it always works. It stops the chatter. So anyone who's listening to this, you want to find yourself in a space where you want to look at yourself and figure out what's going on. But first of all, what you need to do is you need to get into a quiet space and just have nothing going on in your mind. That's the way to do it. Just look at yourself. Look at yourself, come out of yourself and look at yourself. That's quite spiritual in a way, in terms of what that actually means. Come out of yourself and look at yourself. We're spiritual people, right? We're bombarded with all this stuff. I look at it like we've got news going on everywhere, which is the most negative thing. It's like, if you listen to news every single day of your life, you'd think that this is just the most disastrous thing that's going on in the world. It's like there's nothing good that's going on. And we're being bombarded with that every single day. We need to take ourselves away from that and find a space where we focus on ourselves. Once you're able to do that, it means you can start dealing with some of the issues and challenges that you may have internally, externally for yourself as well. But we're being bombarded for a reason. We're being bombarded on purpose so that we never have time to think about who we are, what's going on in our lives. A great example of this was years ago. I met this man. I was selling something to his organization and I went to his house and his wife was dying. And he said to me, have you ever thought that we do not have time to stop and think, just be ourselves? We never have that time. We're bombarded every single day with all types of negativity. And we just don't have a chance to think about what this life is actually about. Because is it about us just doing a 9 to 5 job, coming home, watching TV, going to sleep, going back to our job? Is that what this life is about? I don't think it is. We're spiritual beings. And it's like what we need to do is understand that I'm going to go kind of a bit deep, but there's two forces. There's good force, there's an evil force. And it's like we need to get into the good force, get into the good of ourselves. And we're being bombarded with negativity every single day so that we can't touch our souls, that we can't connect with our higher selves. And I think it's really important that we start to connect with our higher selves.
Mm. I think you've really touched on the fact that self-reflection influences how we experience love for ourselves, and this will subsequently reflect how we have love for others as well.
Yeah, I mean, the first love, most important love, all right. So when we're born, our most important love is probably our mother, our mothers. But we've also got to learn to love ourselves as well, because if we can't love ourselves, how can anybody love us? There's people who hate who they are, hate how they look, hate how they talk, hate everything about themselves. And yet they're looking for love. It's like, who wants to be with somebody like that? There's got to be something about it. Look in the mirror and there's a reflection coming back at you. And that person is a spirit. So if you look at yourself, and sometimes when you're getting older, the spirit still sees this younger person. It's your body that's probably starting to slow down a little bit. The spirit still sees this younger person. It's like we don't feel like we've aged at all, but we've got to love ourselves. That's really, really important. I had to do a presentation in front of a primary school. Like the whole school was there. I didn't realize I had to do it in front of the whole school. And I didn't have a subject ready in my mind. So we'd made this film and everybody loved this film. And I went to just talk about the film. I got to the school and I thought it was only going to be a class, but it was a whole assembly, parents, teachers, everybody else. So I had to kind of gather myself for a moment and think, all right, what am I going to talk about to these children? And we talked about self-love. I talked about how important it is for them to love themselves, regardless of what's going on. And that is spiritual in terms of connection with God. If you can't love who you are, then you can't expect anybody to love you.
Love reminds me of a butterfly. And if you ask me why, I'll say, because it is the closest thing that I would describe as being simple and beautiful at the same time. Love also reminds me of my mother. Her smile, her caring ways, her watchful gaze. She never had to say, I love you, because I always knew. Love involves connection, trust, empathy, compassion, and sacrifice. With lots of affection, fun, and intimacy. It's to be able to look into someone's eyes, knowing they love you and not having to say a word. Like watching an incredible sunrise as its rays fill the sky, causing a state of awe and wonderment that can be seen through our eyes. Love is being in sync with another, knowing what they need and want, like a newborn baby's cry, instinctively telling its mother that I need food or the warmth of your touch. Love, a mystical, non-physical connection, ethereal, regal, and expansive. A gentle, pulsating energy touching your soul, leaving you in no doubt that you are here to love and give love, because our Creator is love. Love feels like warm, gentle fingers running down your back, like kissing someone and never wanting to stop. Like eating the last bit of that delicious ice cream. Or that thirst-quenching taste of that long, cold drink on a hot summer's day. It's like a crazy roller coaster ride, thrilling you with its twists, turns, ups and downs, leaving you giddy with excitement, yet terrified all at the same time, hoping for the ride to stop, yet praying that it never will. When love is missing, it's like eating your favorite food without salt, or hugging someone who doesn't want to hug you back, their touch meaningless and awkward, like drinking lukewarm tea. Love is being in a state of happiness, blissfully unaware of all of life's ills, so serene your heart and earth's essence intertwined, allowing deep divine thoughts to secretly enter and influence your mind. If love was a drink, I would say it tasted just like honey. Even after you swallow, that sticky sweet aftertaste remains in your mouth as you feel it gently slide down your throat. Love is the highest musical note we can reach. And oh, when we reach it, our souls soar and like fireworks explode in the sky, high on life, wanting to drink in as much of life as you can. This deep, delicious, delicate elixir, playing mind games with your soul. I want love in my life, like a thick, warm blanket on a freezing winter's day, like a sweet, deep melody playing in your mind, reminding us to give, to care, to be aware that love has the ability to transform us, to make us better. Love brings us closer to our Maker, makes us appreciate all the wonders in nature, opens our third eye so we can see that this is a life truly worth living. Love is an eternal flame that has never known what it means to go out. A flame that illuminates your essence, allowing you to drop all pretense and let the real you shine through.
You mentioned having that spiritual connection brings you closer to God. What would you say is the one thing that you want the audience to take away from this conversation?
I think the thing that I'd like people to take away from this conversation is that we are all on a journey, a spiritual journey. And as we live this life and we look at what's happening, there's people getting ill and dying, there's people dying, there's wars, there's rumors of wars. If you are somebody who was brought up in church, which I was, you're kind of looking at this and you're like, oh my God, this is revelation. This could be the last days. It's a horrible feeling because that was such a horrible time. When you read about it, it's a horrible chapter. But perhaps we are in a state of turmoil as people. And I also look at chakras, right? So it's kind of moved away from the Bible to chakras, but this is an interesting point. I think we've got 7 chakras that are connected. We've got the head chakra and all the rest as they go down. But what seems to be happening in this world is that we're being kept to the 3rd chakra level. That's been done by keeping us in a state of fear about what's happening in our lives. We don't know whether there's going to be a war tomorrow. We've got a government that seems to have lost its mind. We've got all types of rumors of all types of madness that's going on. There's terrorism. There's so many different crazy things that are going on. Where does that keep us as a race? It keeps us at a level of fear. We can't grow at that level. If every day you wake up, you're terrified, you're fearful, you're concerned, you're worried, you don't know what's going to happen, you cannot move on to the next level of chakra, which means now you are in this world, but you're not a part of it. So it's quite funny how the Bible and maybe those chakra levels all connect in the same way, because we're in a world that is trying to keep us at the base level of existence, which is fear, worry, concern, foreboding. And that's chakra level 3. If we can move up to the next level, none of that means anything, because none of it actually means anything anyway.
Dez, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on his podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on again.
If you would like further details about Dez, then please follow the links in the show notes.